So nothing really happened yesterday, but over on ResetEra, I just posted a bunch of questions in an AMA, a few of which were pretty interesting. So I figured for the filler episode of one of my daily videos, we would talk about that. Let's dive in right now. Dang it, I hit the wrong button. So we're talking about Activision Blizzard yet again, and there were some interesting comments over on ResetEra from Idas. He had 52 questions. Let's start with this one here. Morphine said, I wonder if Microsoft are having talks with Rishi Sunak in the background. He's almost a billionaire and pro-business. If CMA blocks the deal, it means that Microsoft can threaten to halt its gaming practices in the UK. Idas, do you know that in the case of Xbox decides to leave the UK market, nuclear and unlikely, I think, will all of Microsoft have to stop its business practices in the UK, or can they, for example, stop selling support and supporting Xbox there? Idis responds, I would love to see something like that happening just for the legal insanity that it would cause. I mean, in every country, Microsoft and Activision Blizzard would be one company, but in the UK, they should keep the status quo and act like independent companies. The problem is that the merger agreement requires the approval from the UK. So, if we rewind about a year, we have Satya Nadella saying Xbox or Microsoft is all in on gaming and super positive about how everything's going. In 2023, I know there's not a recession, but everybody feels like a recession is coming. So in 2023, we see, 10,000 people being laid off in Microsoft. And it does sort of make me wonder, if this deal ends up falling apart, what is it going to take for Microsoft to say, you know what, let's actually stop the Xbox division and go from there? I don't think that they would ever pull out of the UK because they would just lose any sort of revenue that they're getting from that territory. They would probably come up with just another solution. But my reaction to that is, would we ever approach a situation where, again, Microsoft ends up in that, well, should we continue the gaming branch with Microsoft, or what would happen in that situation? It would be very, very interesting. Anyway, I do have to wonder just what percentage of the market COD represents, that this single game is the tipping point. Can't wait for Idis to provide full info. Thanks. I think the timing... I think that during the weekend, I'll post a gigantic summary of the PFs. So he will probably be posting something like that very, very soon. So Microsoft can choose one of the 3 behavioral remedies ABC listed by the CMA as a behavioral remedy for this acquisition, or propose an alternative. No, the structural remedies suggested by the CMA are just the starting point. By the end, there is a divestiture. They could be quite different. For example, divesting the COD business would likely require behavioral remedies too, at least for a few years. So if they do decide to, spin COD off into its own thing, then that would also take a long time to sort out with the companies. Ida, sorry for bothering specifically now, but when can we expect both Activision and Microsoft to talk about this on public? The responses to the remedies notice and provisional findings will be published by late March, I guess. The responses from third parties, for example, Sony, will be published too. Then nothing until the final report in late April in between press reports. So we're going to get stuff from MLEX and all the other places that we've been hearing from about this whole deal. By the way, if you like these videos where I go over stuff, it's very late. My brain just sort of needs to shut off for a little bit, so I play Marvel Snap a whole bunch. But anyway, if you like these videos where I sort of talk about these deals or whatever on the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when my content goes live. Thank you so much for watching. Still have that goal of 100,000 subscribers, but I know you're kind of getting tired of the promo, so I got to come up with a new fun way to bring it up. But yeah, if all of you hit subscribe right now, basically, I would hit 100,000 subscribers today. So help the channel grow and hit that button. Modis says, I don't have a legal knowledge, but I imagine it basically means everything that allows COD production, marketing and publishing operations to proceed as planned. So any relevant studios, publishing brands, etc. Yes, if the COD factory is divested, behavioral remedies are also going to be part of the process. For example, Activision Blizzard providing support during 2 to 3 years on human resources, marketing, publishing, and more. So if they do spin off that thing, yes, they still have to support it. The only material difference is that Microsoft will get to keep all the other Activision IP, since virtually all of the Activision studios work on COD currently. If the COD factory is divested, lots of interesting questions will require an answer. How many studios are really needed? COD has to be released every year, or could the schedule be changed? What is Call of Duty as a concept? Could COD Mobile and Warzone be enough? And much more. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about that. What would it mean if they did spin off COD? Is it just Warzone that, the company is worried about? Maybe that would be a solution that they would provide. They'd be like, okay, well, we're willing to spin off Warzone and, the biannual Call of Duty, but we want COD Mobile, basically, because a big part of the reason Microsoft has said they want to get the company is for COD Mobile. It's going to be really, really interesting when they lay out exactly what is going to happen with that divestiture, I think I'm saying it right, if they go that route. Anyway, let's continue on. The smallest party not even becoming the second player in the console market is bad for competition. Strange conclusion. I get it in the cloud gaming market. I don't get the divestiture. Divestiture. Everybody's like, even it's divestiture, right? Anyway, because every option is a step further from no Call of Duty to no Activision to only King. If a third party buys the COD factory or Activision Publishing, that acquisition will also be reviewed from an antitrust perspective. So no Nintendo or Sony. I would exclude Electronic Arts 2, Battlefield, and maybe even Ubisoft, Rainbow Six, and Epic Fortnite. Tencent is not the platform holder, but could be problematic too. Take-Two sounds fine to me. Do they have any big FPS franchise beyond Borderlands, NetEase, Bandai Namco, or some Korean company? Maybe too. And you know what? Microsoft seems pretty buddy-buddy with Take-Two, so maybe he's right on the money there. We've seen a lot of conversations between those two. They've tried things out with Grand Theft Auto, and then they took it off of Game Pass. It would be really interesting to see what would happen if that were to transpire. Do you think an extremely long license deal, like 20 years, would help? Time is a problem with behavioral remedies because you need someone monitoring these concessions the whole time. I don't think that they will go beyond 10 years. Besides, the CMA is talking about a nascent market with cloud gaming. 10 years in that scenario is a crazy amount of time. And if the CMA accepts, they'll have to include review clauses to check everything every couple of years. So no, they're not going to expand the amount of time because it would just be ridiculous for them to keep track of it for that long. Let's see here. They could offer a third-party licensing deal for just the UK market. It would have to be long-term and non-cancelable, where the third-party publisher would have almost complete rights to IP management for the market. What's your take on something like that? Anyway, no doubt that Microsoft will play the card of this type of divestiture being detrimental to the deal and its potential pro-competitive effects. Could a third-party licensing deal only for UK work? My guess is that Microsoft will offer a global remedy package to make things easier and clear-cut. Besides, the cloud gaming aspect adds a lot of complexity to this. In any case, I still have to read the whole provisional findings to see what the CMA found problematic with the cloud gaming issue. Whatever Microsoft comes back with, that's going to be their sort of blanket solution for the entirety of the case. That's going to be for the CMA, the EU, and the FTC. Those are the big three, right? So whatever they lay out, there is probably going to be an expectation that they also lay that out for the FTC in the US. So this is going to get really interesting. Could the deal still fall apart? I still don't I don't even know how that would happen at this point because they're in for like $2.5 billion. Unless they feel like having to do that divestiture would result in them not recouping the cost, but you still have like tons of IP. You have Diablo and everything. Anyway, sort of an interesting thought. So potential structural divestments are almost exactly what I theorized earlier, just spinning off the A portion of Activision Blizzard because of the nature of how they're structured. ABK is merely a holding company of subsidiaries. This would be extremely easy for Microsoft if they wanted to go this route. The official suggested remedies are divestiture, 3 options, and prohibition. Access remedies are just an option that the CMA is open to analyze, but where they see plenty of risks. That's why I put them on 3rd place. I think that subscription services not being their own market is a huge win for Microsoft, specifically for future acquisitions. I think that subscription services not being their own market is a huge win for Microsoft, specifically for future activity. I wonder what he's alluding to there. Is he saying, like, if you add other things as subscription services, like, it's not going to be a problem in the future? Very interesting stuff. Yeah, I don't really know what to think about on that one, but it definitely makes me think, that's for sure. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, here's one. So basically, somebody basically alluded to, it looks like the CMA is the final boss. And they're like, yes, the CMA is definitely the final boss of this story. They're probably one of the stricter areas where Microsoft is going to have to get this to pass. And if it passes there, all the other places are going to sort of fall in line. And, you know, maybe there's some little squabbling about little things, so they feel like they got the one up. But yeah, probably not too much. This one I thought was cool. Preliminary reading the PlayStation Gamer research. It's kind of crazy to see the data and the CMA to say, yeah, this deal would severely hurt gamers and limit the ability for gamers to have more options. Interesting, though. Yes, the lack of interest on Xbox in many questions is remarkable. I think what he's saying is that they don't really care about Microsoft still being in 3rd place or anything. They're just like, yeah, we need to figure out another solution here. Independent makes sense. That way Sony can still bid on marketing rights if Activision decided to make them available. Once I'm done with provisional findings and post about access remedies, I'll do one about structural remedies. We haven't talked too much about holding separate provisions yet. If the disaster goes ahead, they'll have until late July, early August to figure out how that looks. 20 years already sounds a lot. 25 is more. I still think they stick to 10. Okay, here we go. What is the probability that Microsoft could set up a wholly owned, fully independent PLC for the UK market where it would make all publishing deals and decisions regarding Activision Blizzard properties? And would something like that, in your opinion, be something that would address and satisfy the CMA's concerns? I think Pixie's had a great answer about this. Even if in theory you can make it work, there would be a lot of complexity. Remedies have to be easy and fast to implement, so that probably is not going to happen. So like we thought, it is a positive sign that they said they're open to behavioral remedies, and it isn't just for a show. I know some people were talking out their butts. They are still mainly against the idea, but yes, I wasn't expecting access remedies being expressly mentioned, so that's something at least. What else we got here? No doubt that Microsoft will play the LinkedIn card again when talking about monitoring remedies and address those concerns. They'll suggest the appointment of a trustee that could independently monitor the access remedies and the level of enforcement. Interesting. In that case, they paid for everything during 5 years. I guess they'll offer something similar here, but for 10 years. That's okay. You know what? That's a really interesting thought. So they figured out something with LinkedIn that worked, and they might present that as a solution again. And it would basically be a third party that monitors access to the property. Very, very interesting stuff. Anyway, those were just a few of the questions. Let me just scroll through here. This is a very casual episode today. I'm not seeing anything jump out really. In any case, of the 24% of switchers, only 15% would go to Xbox. The rest would go to PC. So that doesn't really seem to matter. I'm not seeing anything else jump out at me. Yeah, okay. So that's the end there. That's the last one. Might be a dumb question, but if Microsoft wants to agree to divestiture with the CMA, why would Activision Blizzard shareholders have any issues? For example, because the merger agreement says this. The fact that the merger agreement requires that Microsoft use its reasonable best efforts to make certain actions necessary to obtain a regulatory clearance and satisfy regulatory conditions, including the fact that divesting part of ABK would have material and immaterial effects for the parties. The shareholders agreed to these conditions, so changing the original plan, if it happens, will generate agitation. That's what could kill the deal. If the investors on Activision's side decide that the deal has changed, Activision has an opportunity to drop out. And Microsoft has an opportunity to drop out, because if the regulatory bodies say, hey, this doesn't work, you have to change the terms of the deal, then there is a little bit of wiggle room there for both parties. Maybe Microsoft gets off paying a lower fee, and Activision can kind of just sneak their way out of it. And that's the first time I've actually realized there is a way that this could fall apart. And it's if the terms of the deal need to be altered for the deal to go through. It gives everybody enough wiggle room to get out of it. And because it's taken so long, and we're in 2023, a year where we're seeing massive layoffs, I do wonder if there is a chance that it does end up falling apart because of that reason. I still think the deal will go through, but we're getting really, really close to the end here, and a lot of interesting stuff to think about. Hey, thanks for watching. If you're one of the 50% of people who aren't subscribed, I'm going to keep doing it until you subscribe. I know you're watching right now and you're not subscribed. What are you doing? Come on. Just kidding. I hope you're having a good day. Thank you so much to the members for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you watched to the very, very end, anybody watching right now, should I do a Q&A? If you have a question for me, do @Destin in the comments, because it sort of like highlights it. It's easier for me to read, and ask your question, and I will record that video and use it next time it's a very slow news day. We can do a Destin Q&A for viewers of the channel, and I think that would be kind of fun if you're into it. If I get like 2 questions, then obviously I won't do it. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to see the video I did yesterday about what Activision seems to be preparing for, you can check that out right here, and I'll catch you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.